All right. Okay.
They just said a special one, so maybe they just thought, special. So
Yeah.
it's special.
They think they're special, or they fell asleep and they forgot to turn off their phone. So that's probably another case. All right. So I guess other than that, we have other full timers here, SMDs. I have Chris and Dan here who was not present from the last one, but pretty much we have Ricky, Lisel, Christy, Atiwang, and Ging. And Ray, is Ray on Ging with you?
Ray has an appointment. So,
Okay, no worries.
yeah.
Okay, got it. So the last time we had a meeting, he gave us an assignment to submit at least 3 to 5 businesses that we're gonna be working on. All right, and I saw a few people, 2 or 3 people that submitted, and all those, and you already had the one-on-one with them after that. So this is kind of the follow-up part 2, or the second part or third. How many part that would be?
It'll be, so the way we look at it, Don, is we had a pretty, our first session was, there was a lot. Yeah. There was a lot to unpack.
Mm-hmm.
So what I like to do this session, we'll do a pretty good review of what we did in session 1. So it's fine if you have some new people here. It'll help to reiterate some of the things that we were talking about during session 1 that you have to hear it a couple of times. Mm-hmm. But what I will say is, I'll review kind of a little bit what we talked about. I'll do a rough overview, but we're going to be more concept driven. We'll take a look at the numbers, and primarily really more concept driven than explaining things. I'm going to give a gold star though to Christina and to Ying and Ray and Ricky for getting that list to me as well. Christy, extra star, Ate, because there were certain things I needed to know, and she got it back to me like that. So now that she has everything back to me, we're ready to go. Like, I just need to set another point with her. And we'll go through the approach on her list, and then it's going to be off to the races. So it's awesome. So good for you. And then Ray just got busy. I think Gray and Dean got busy and didn't get back to me. And Ricky and I kind of went through his list too. So those people that got the list to me, and I think LaSalle did too. I can't remember for sure, but I ended up getting a lot of emails. I can't. So LaSalle, if you did, I'm sorry that I don't see it. Maybe I have, but I'll double check. So tonight's action-packed drama is going to start off by checking in. So Don, what's your team's name? What's the team name? What's the hierarchy name?
Elite team.
Elite? Is the elite team?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to pin myself because I'm going to ask you guys to please make sure you check in. So there's my QR code right there. So check in for me. And then there's a free format section. And the free format section, I want you to put elite team. Just put elite team. Okay? So for those of you that are checking in, make sure you put elite team. That way my staff will know that you are basically alerting us that your stuff needs to be bubbled up to the top. Okay? So whatever request that you need, my team is going to know, my internal wholesaler is going to know that you are part of this exclusive group that's not offered to everybody. And so therefore, if you have business that you're putting in, if you have an inquiry that you have, then my folks will know that you guys are handpicked, hand-selected by Don to be part of this elite group. So for those of you that are new and joining us, my name is David. I'm the field vice president for the Southwest region of Pacific Life. That's okay. If you're not necessarily in my region, we're going to get you connected with your dedicated support team as well. But we're one big happy family, so we can all help you. I'm excited for this particular topic. What I want to say is this. Look, first of all, I'm not here to tell you to do all your business with Pacific Life. I'm not here to say you need to do every single dollar with Pacific Life. That is not the case. I'm not here to disrupt your normal recruiting business. Like, if you do that with Transamerica, great, keep doing it. If it's with Nationwide, fantastic, keep doing it with Nationwide. I'm not here to take that business. I'm not here to ask for it. No. What we're here to do is we're here to go to that next level and help carve out a specific clientele that maybe you are not approaching, or maybe you need more success or more tips on how to approach more successfully. And that would be your higher net worth client. That would be your business owner clients. That's your doctors, nurses, physicians, all that good stuff. I didn't tell you today, Don, because it actually happened today. Remember that $1.6 million case? Target. $1.6 million Target, guys. That case funded today. So it got issued last week. It got signed last week. And today, clients sent the $2 million wire transfer to fund the case annually. And so $1.6 million is now paid out. So that's Target. So what is wild is that last week when we did, when we issued this case, I got another case for 1.4 million Target submitted. And I mean, obviously those are really, really big cases, but it goes to show you that they're out there. And by the way, that's WFG. I don't deal with anybody else but WFG, okay? I don't care what anybody else is doing. That's what WFG in my region is doing. So it's pretty exciting stuff. Were you going to ask, Don?
No, I said we're going to get there. Share of 1.6 millions.
You know, and I say that because obviously those are large cases. But those are elephant cases. You don't want to go elephant hunting. What I'm saying is do your normal, along with your normal recruiting and business that you're doing, sprinkle in a couple of high net worth clients, sprinkle in a couple of business owner clients, maybe 2 or 3 a month, and you're going to find you're going to have a really nice baseline on top of everything that you're doing. It's just icing on the cake. Now, there are tons of 100,000 point cases, tons of 50,000 point cases, 20,000 point cases, all business owners. And business owners typically have a much higher threshold when it comes to premiums, therefore higher threshold when it comes to target. So that's the first thing to keep in mind. So now, hopefully all of you have signed in at this point. I'm going to share my screen. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the things that we talked about last time that I spoke with you, because we viewed a lot, guys. We viewed a lot. So let me see. Okay. So the requirement to be part of this group, and this is a 6-month commitment, just as a reminder, is to have your list of 3 to 5 rolling business owners. So that means 3 to 5. So that means if one falls off, you're replacing it with somebody else. Okay? If one gets closed out, if one gets through, you replace it immediately. For 6 months, you replace it with somebody else. So you're constantly working this list. That's what, and we're not asking for 10 or 20. It's 5 because you want to be able to work maybe 1 or 2 a month, again, to not disrupt your normal recruiting business. Yeah. The other criteria is you have to be appointed with Pacific Life. You must be appointed with Pacific Life. Of course, not all business is going to come to us, but we want to make sure that you're going to be ready and prepared to be able to submit business with Pacific Life, especially when it comes to this business owner realm. You must register yourself on lifeinsurance.pacificlife.com. That is going to be the agent site. You must be licensed and appointed in order to register on this site. Okay, that gets you to IGO. That gets you to our illustration. It gets you to everything. So last week, this is the criteria, minimum criteria. If you need help with this, then let me know. We're more than happy to help you get through this. For those of you that have already done this, thank you so much. And thank you for your patience as I repeat some of this stuff, okay? We talked about last time I spoke to you, we talked about why would you want to focus on this area? And one of the things that we talked about was through a business owner, you have contacts to other people through one person, one center of influence. So if you're talking to a business owner, who do you have access to through that conversation? You have access to their customers. You have access to their employees. You have access to their spouses, to their family, to their CPA. You have access to the vendors, to their clientele. Through one single person, you have access to all of these other people, and then they are also a center of influence, and so on and so forth. This $1.6 million case that I'm just telling you about right now, there's a premium finance for the same guy. There's a defined benefit plan for the same client. And he's married. And so and he has 3 kids. And it just goes on and on. And the thing is when you're dealing and you're talking with people who are business owners, they already know that to make money, it takes money. They have an understanding of the basics of money, at least. So the first thing that I always tell people is tip number 1, if you're planning to approach business owners, you need to approach them with a service mindset, not a recruiting mindset. They already have a business. Okay? It's really important to understand this. You can recruit them and give them the offer on the back end as an oh, by the way, but in the beginning, it's really important to understand that you're there to help service them and help them in some way, somehow, either retirement planning, employee retention, succession planning, things like that. So it's important to make sure that you understand that. So tip number one. The other thing is this, and I'm going to point this out too. We talked about this as well. Where the heck did it go? Okay. This is something that is, and I'm going to go back and forth a little bit. I'm going to go back and forth a little bit, okay? So this is something to understand. Now, I don't know, where are you guys? What did I do with you guys? It is something with you. I'm going to share my screen. Am I sharing my screen? No. Okay. This is something to understand, is that I don't know your natural industry. I don't know what your natural network is. I have no idea. Is it nurses? Is it doctors? Is it business owners? Is it construction? Is it restaurants? Each industry has its own different pain points. So I want you to think about, and I want you to list down, actually write it down on paper, list down who is your natural market. Who else do you have? For those of you that already got me your list, think about who else is in your natural market. What other industries? And then I want you to list pain points. We talked about this. What are the pain points of that particular industry that really just suck? Yeah? So a pain point, by the way, when you're identifying a pain point, it needs to be a pain point that you are able to help with. Okay? So what can you help with? Employee retention is one thing. Yes. So how can you help with employee retention? We're going to talk about that. You can help with that. Taxation. Yeah, you can help with that. Retirement planning. Yes, you can help with that type of pain point. So under general pain points, I'm going to list this out. So let's talk about this. I'm going to list this out for you. One happens to be, if you have an employee population, it'll be employee retention. Business succession planning. That's for anybody that plans on continuing their business at some point. That could be a loss of a key executive. It could be that you want to sell a portion of your business and do something else. It could be that you are looking to leave your business to the next generation. The daughter or son's going to take over, right? Retirement planning. Taxes. I like to say this, tax engineering opportunities. Okay, these are pain points, or tax engineering. Actually, pain point is taxes. Taxes, period. Okay. So these are all pain points, general pain points that business owners have. But you have a direct contact to a specific natural network. Who is your specific natural network? Let me put this example. Doctors, nurses, construction, restaurant. What is IT? What is your natural network? And specifically, what are the general pain points of that specific network that you can help with? Okay? We talked about a lot. We talked about rebranding yourself, didn't we? I think we did. Meaning that people know you from your previous industry, or people know you as a certain way. How do they know you now? How is it that you introduce what you do now? So if you were a nurse, how are you introducing yourself to other nurses at what you do? So the pointer here is to identify 3 primary skill sets from your previous industry, or however the person knew you, that can be bridged to your new industry, to your current. We talked about nurses. So what do nurses do? If you think about what do nurses do? Nurses help patients, right? How do they help patients? Nurses work with doctors. They help to create a plan of care, right? They help to execute a plan of care. What's the plan of care? Plan of care is the diagnosis of the client with specific steps on how to help that client get healthy and put them on a better path. Well, you can take that same skill set, Well, what I do is I actually help to create a financial plan of care. Oh, what's that? Well, you're talking to a nurse or a doctor. They already know what a plan of care is, so you're already speaking their language, right? Oh yeah. Well, Don, you're a doctor. You understand plan of care. You do them all the time. Well, what I do is I do a financial plan of care. Yeah, you're so busy taking care of your patients. You're so busy taking care of this. Who's taking care of you? So the financial plan of care that I put into place does X, Y, and Z. See what I mean? But now I'm speaking the language that Don can understand. So it's going to help to create a better rebranding for me, because he only knows me as another doctor, or he only knows me as a nurse. Okay? So you need to rebrand yourself in a way that you can communicate it effectively to your audience. And knowing your audience is all part of it. Knowing your audience is knowing their industry. Knowing your audience is knowing their pain points and how you can help those pain points. So let's go and move into elevator speech, because we talked about this last time. And this is part of your homework for those of you who were here. You're supposed to do your elevator speech. But the first thing to understand is, before you do an elevator speech and do it effectively, what is an elevator speech? Everybody knows. You guys all said this. It's your 10-second what I do speech, right? But before you even construct a really good one, you've got to understand what the goal is. What is the goal of an elevator speech?
Follow up.
It is to raise curiosity, right? Yeah. It's to raise curiosity. You say something, Dum?
No, that's what I was saying.
Good. That's exactly it. It's to raise curiosity and to have permission to continue the conversation. That's all it is. That's what it is. It is not to tell anybody about an IUL. It is not to tell anybody about annuity or long-term care. It's not about that. It is to raise curiosity without mentioning a product, without mentioning anything like that. So eventually what's going to happen whenever you're having a conversation with somebody, a question always comes into play. A question always comes into play. And you always ask this question first, and then it reciprocates, okay? So we're assuming that this question is now being posed to you. What do you do? What do you do? How are you going to answer that? Are you going to say I'm a financial advisor? Are you going to say that I help in financial education? What is your answer to and specifically to a higher net worth or business owner client? What is your answer to that? That's up to you. Actually, you know what you can do? If you have a sheet of paper, if you're taking notes, if you can please make sure, write down your answer. If we were in a setting, let's say I'm a business owner or a high identity client, and I asked you, what do you do? So what do you do? Can you just write down really quick what you do? Couple sentences, however long, it's fine. Or at least pretend and look like you're writing something down. Whatever you got. Okay. Now, and I love this because I know that Ricky's been working on this. So Ricky, do you remember what your old elevator speech was to me? Like the first one you did.
Yes, I wrote it down. This is to the business owners. If they ask me if what I do.
The first one, like the first time you ever answered the questions to me. And the first time, before you even redid it. You remember what you said to me?
No, I didn't write it down.
Okay, all right, fine. So, well, I'll tell you, and then you tell me in a second. So, I think Ricky had said something like, "I help with financial education" or something like that, right? So, Ricky, what do you have now? If I asked you, what do you do? What would you tell me now?
Oh, do you know how to minimize taxes and use it for your retirement? What I do is I create a strategy on what majority of successful business owners are doing right now.
How do you do that? That's great. Good job. So that's with Ricky redoing his what do you do. And by the way, so the thing is, whenever somebody asks you what you do, typically somebody will answer with an answer. Today I did a class for somebody. I said, "What do you do?" And they said, "Well, what do you tell them when somebody says, what do you do?" They said, "I tell them I'm a financial advisor." I go, "So okay, let's role play. You tell me, okay, what do you do?" And they go, "I'm a financial advisor." And I said, "Okay, I already have one of those."
Eh, it's dead.
Right? That's it. That's it. Okay? So I said, okay, well, why don't you think of something about this a little different? So first of all, here's a tip. The tip is answer this question with a question. And the question needs to be, just like Ricky did, do you know how? ... Okay? By the way, insert pain point. What I do is help to however you want to say this. This is your own phrase here. So I'm going to put a bracket here. What I do is help, assist, whatever, minimize, alleviate, maximize, whatever. So a power word or power phrase basically is what we're trying to do. Power word, power phrase. And then you insert your pain point. Bracket, and then you insert pain point. Okay. So for example, let's take this employee retention, this general pain point, okay? Let's say Ricky is my client, or not my client. Ricky is somebody who I meet, who I know is a business owner. It's a networking event or something, and Ricky asked me what I do. And I say, Ricky, you're a business owner. Hey, I'm a business owner. So you know how a lot of business owners are worried about losing their superstar who drives revenue to their competitors, or that they would lose their company? I was like, yeah, I could totally identify with that, right? Well, what I do is I help business owners just like you to create golden handcuff plans that not only keep your superstars with you, but also create a tax deduction at the same time. And also create a tax deduction at the same time. Do you have a plan like that for your superstars so you don't lose them? Soft close. Yeah? So do you know how? So I said, hey, you're a business owner, Ricky, do you know how? You can identify. So the do you know how part is, can you relate to this? That's why you put the pain point, because people don't listen unless it's a little bit of hurt. There's got to be a little bit of thing or something that makes them identify. It makes them feel something. Yeah? So, Ricky, do you know how, you're a business owner, do you know how a lot of business owners out there are worried about losing their superstar employees and therefore revenue dropping because they go to that superstar goes to a competitor? Yeah. Well, what I do is I help to create, look at that. I help to create golden handcuff plans that not only keep your superstars with you and loyal and productive, it also creates an additional tax deduction for your business. Do you have one of those plans right now? Or what type of plans are you utilizing for your superstars so they don't leave you? Soft close. That's a soft close. The response that you want from your elevator speech is this. Is how? What? Tell me more. That's the curiosity piece, and also the permission to continue the conversation. You also need to take it away. Like, you know what? I'd love to be able to tell you more about that because I talked about gold handcuff plans, blah, 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 right? I'd love to tell you about that. Usually I have a watch or a phone, but I have an appointment coming up. But I'll tell you what, if you give me your number, you know what, and tell me the name of your business and all that good stuff, and what I can do is I'll connect back with you. We can meet up like in 2 or 3 days. We can meet up in 3 days, like make sure it's a specific time. Well, let's meet up in 3 days and see if any of these strategies work for you, right? So there's a takeaway. It's like dating, you guys. It's like dating. You give a little info. You don't get a little cookies all the way the first time. You don't do that, right? You don't do that. You gotta entice a little bit. You gotta be attractive. You know, come on. Speaking of which, language. Can we talk about language really quick? And I might be going a little bit fast, but that's because I kind of went over this before, and I want to get to the concept piece of this. Let's talk about language. Each industry, every industry, has a specific language or phrases or words, whatever, right? That is specific to that industry. So, for example, I said financial plan of care. Anybody in the medical field physician, doctor, nurse practitioner knows what a plan of care is. But do they know what a financial plan of care is? So it's important to be able to understand and use, it's important to understand the language of that specific industry where, again, you can bridge it to what you do. I talked about it a little bit here, right? It's important to be able to do that because it'll make it so much easier for that receiver, your audience, to know what the heck you're talking about. Okay? The other thing I want to mention too is this, is when you're speaking to somebody of high net worth, when you're speaking to somebody who's a business owner, there are words, and those of you who were there the last time I was in Vegas know this, and I'm going to put it down here, that we don't use. Not right away, okay? Not right away. So this is a reminder. This is a reminder to, in the beginning, we're going to replace these words. Oh, she wasn't for me. We're going to replace these specific words with different ones. So these are the words we don't want to use. Okay? That is my thing. They're supposed to be centered, so it bothers me. All right, there we go. These are the words that we don't want to use. Okay? Not in the beginning. Life insurance. Ooh, terrible, awful word. You look like you have a green eye or a third eye. You don't want to use the word product. And you don't want to use the word policy. We don't want to use those words. Why don't we want to use those words? Anybody want to take a stab at it? You got a chat box, don't you? You do. Okay, here. All right, here you go. Why don't I want to use these three words in the beginning? Why are they bad in the beginning? Anybody know? Go ahead, put it in the chat box. Okay, wait. What is it? Why do you not want to use any of these three words in the beginning? Selling right away. That's right. Because that's exactly it. They close up. Because why? Because you're selling right away. I'm not even kidding, guys. So the last session I did, you know what the guy said? The guy said, I said the elevator speech. So what do you say in your elevator speech? What do you tell people? Oh, what I tell people is, well, I help individuals right off the bat. So I said, what do you do? He's like, well, I help individuals and businesses plan for long-term care and life insurance needs. I go, look, there's nothing wrong with what you're saying. Obviously, you've done pretty well. What happens when that person tells you that they have life insurance? What happens if they're super young and they don't care about long-term care? Or what happens if that person doesn't qualify for life insurance or long-term care? Now what? So one thing that we do is we want to steer away from that product talk. Like, this is not about IUL. This whole conversation, this is not about IUL. It's not about annuities. It's not about any of that stuff. This is what we're going to replace them with, right? So we're going to replace them with these words, at least in the beginning. And it's going to be with plan, strategy, and solution. Because what happens here is obviously you go from a negative connotative word over to these power words. I like to call these power words. Because if I'm calling Don, I'm like, hey, Don, he's a business owner. Hey, I wanted to see if you have any life insurance needs for your business or for your employees. Right? That sounds perfect, right? Totally. That's so she's going to say yes. Or I'll say, hey, Don, I was just in session with a VP of Pacific Life. We were talking about challenges that business owners are having, and that made me think of you. And one of the challenges was high taxes, and he was talking to me about these specific strategies that other businesses are utilizing. And I wanted to see if you were leveraging the same strategies. Do you have 10 minutes we can have a conversation? It's a different talk. Or, Don, there's these solutions that other business owners are putting into play right now as half the year is gone for employee retention purposes. I wanted to see if you're taking advantage of these same solutions. So it's you see what I mean? But life insurance product and policy, they're not bad words at some point. They're just bad words in the beginning because we don't want to scare anybody away. It's like if you're dating and you're like, hey, let's have sex. Saying let's have sex, right? That's even scary. It's even scarier. The first date. Get married. Weird, right? It's kind of the same thing. And not that these are going to be bad words all the time. Obviously, what's going to happen is that they're just going to be, at some point it's going to include something. It'll include some type of product or some type of policy, probably life insurance, right? But we don't have to put ourselves in that box, because then you're screwed. All right, these are my tips. Let me stop really quick and ask if anybody has any questions while I take a drink. Are we good? Let me check. If you have questions, please put it in the chat box, or if you have any comments, put it in the chat box, because now we're going to get into the dirty, which is good, which is concept. So the first review, let me just kind of go talk about what we talked about. We talked about understanding our audience. Understanding our audience means that you understand the industry and your natural network. What is the connection? How have you rebranded yourself? Do you understand the pain points of that particular network or that particular industry? Have you started to think about how you're able to bridge that industry phrases to what you do now? Do you have a strong response to what do you do? And if not, these are the kind of the homework things and items that you'll need to do for the next session, because we're going to really dive right in. But of course, you need to have your list of at least 3 to 5 high net worth or business owners to me. There's certain information and criteria that I'd like for you to include, and I'll tell you at the end of it too. Okay. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to jump into the knowledge aspect. So I want to jump into the knowledge, which is not about IUL. Okay, guys. Again, it's not about IUL. This is about concept. And the reason why is because the product, the life insurance policy doesn't matter if the client can't grasp or the client doesn't feel that they need that concept. Everything is concept driven. Okay. So, having said that, there are 2 main ones that we talked about last time. We're going to talk about it again, because I want to make sure that you have this correct. So, or you have this clear in your mind. So for those of you that have been through this, I encourage you to ask questions, because you've heard this before. So a lot of times it literally takes anywhere between 2 to 10 times to hear the same thing for it to start to sink in. For some, depends, okay? So now what we're going to do is we're going to move on to concepts. So here are the strategies. And to understand the possible strategies, you need to know what the overall goal is of the business, okay? Goal, possible solution, okay? So we're going to start here. So if the goal is to attract, retain, motivate, incentivize, pick one, I don't care. A superstar employee, we're going to talk about possible solutions, okay? So if you, actually take the important, superstar. So if you are a business owner and you're like, man, I can't lose David because David brings in 75% of my business. If he leaves, what happens? You got to find a replacement, right? Here's a question for you. Let me stop sharing. You guys are all the boss. We're all your employees, okay? I'm your superstar employee. I bring in 75% of your business. If I left, if your competitor steals me, or if I decided to become your competitor, I bring in 75% of your business. How would that impact your business? Will it go up? Will it go down? What do you think?
No.
Did it go down? By how much? Okay. Here's another question. So what would you have to do? If I left, what would you have to do? You would have to find a replacement, right? You have to find a replacement. Okay, I'm going to ask you a question. You can type this answer in the chat box. Is it more expensive for you as a business owner to find another superstar to replace me, or is it more expensive to do something to keep me? Which one is more expensive? To find a new superstar, or to try and keep me, which is more expensive. Find a new one. Okay? Okay? All right, everybody's on the same page. Find a new one. Right. Why? And it's because why? Because you got to find, number one, you got to go find that person. Yeah. Well, and then all the years that you poured into me to be a superstar, you're going to have to pour into this new person. All the hours, all the training, all the knowledge, all the industry secrets, all that stuff that you downloaded from me to be your competitor, you're going to download it over to this person, and you're going to hope that they're going to be as loyal as I have been. And I've stayed with you for like whatever, 5 years or a year or whatever. There's no guarantee that person's going to stay. So it becomes a lot more expensive. Or maybe you'll have to hire 2 people to do what I do because I do 75%. So this is the golden handcuff plan, right? So if LaSalle was my client, I said, LaSalle, you obviously have a really great business here. You've got some superstars, obviously, that help you run the business. Here's the setup. And I asked her, LaSalle, tell me the names of who are your 2 superstars that if you couldn't, I don't know, if you couldn't work in your business for a week or 2 weeks, that you know because those 2 people are there, you'd be fine. Like if you had to walk away for a month or even 2 months because you have those 2 people there, what are the names of those 2 superstars? I'm going to ask for names. I want to know names. And she's going to say Don or something, one of them. Oh, and Ging is my other superstar. And I said, okay, well, you said Don first, so tell me, what does Don do that makes him so critical to your organization? And so she's going, well, Don does this. He sets up all the meetings. He picks up my dry cleaning. He washes my car, whatever, right? So whatever his job duties are that make him critical. I say, okay. And so what does Ging do that makes her so critical? He does this, she does this, and whatever. I'm like, okay. So tell me, if either of them decided to go and leave you and go to another company, how would that impact your business? So there's the setup. There's the, hey, great business. It's super successful. Okay. Feel good, pat on the back. And, oh, gosh, who are the people that you rely on? Who are your top superstars? So I make her identify them to me, as I'm assuming that I have the appointment. And then I do the feel good again. So tell me, what does Don do for you? Tell me what Ging do for you that makes sure it's so critical. And then I take it away. I take away. What happens if Don, blah, blah, blah? Now I can come up with a solution. Well, LaSalle, have you ever thought about creating a golden handcuffs plan that provides motivation and incentivizes your 2 superstars to make sure they stay with you as long as possible, and at the same time create a tax deduction? Are you doing that now? Do you have a plan like that right now? That's a soft close. Do you have a plan like that right now? She tells me no. So here it is. So here's the solution, guys. The solution is all an executive bonus. I also want you to note that how I did not call it an executive bonus right away. I didn't call it an executive bonus right away, right? I didn't tell you what the name was. You know why? Because nobody cares. Nobody cares what it's called. Everybody cares what it does. So that's why it's important to be able to explain in simple terms when you're having a conversation with somebody why they would want to do it in the first place. So if LaSalle is my business owner, I'm like, LaSalle, look, I've probably done, gosh, I can't even count how many I've done of these this year because of those 2 reasons. A, I had a business owner that said, look, I've got some superstars that I need to take care of. And B, I want to be able to create some tax deduction for my business. So here's why these other businesses like it. And so when I tell people, yeah, you know, I've been working with other businesses on setting this up, it creates FOMO. Y'all know what FOMO is, right? We're all Filipino. We all have FOMO. Fear of missing out, yeah? So when you say that you're working with another business owner, they want to know. And why is it so successful? So I'll tell you why. Number one here, look at selective participation. LaSalle can choose. Remember, we're all of her employees. She can choose who. She can choose me. She can choose you, whatever. But she says, David, I want to give you a $50,000 bonus for the next 10 years because you're my superstar. I mean, I know I offer a 401k already. You're going to still keep that. I want to do something extra special for you and for you only. So she can do it. It's the only time discrimination is good, yeah? She gets to decide. She gets to set the parameters. $50,000, 10-year bonus. You have to stay with me for 10 years. It's tied to this merit, and this merit is tied to blah, blah, blah. She gets to decide, okay? And here's the great part, too. there's no TPA that is involved. You don't have to have a third-party administrator. For the 401k, you have to. You have to have a third-party administrator. With an executive bonus, you do not. So therefore, minimal cost, and it's simple. It's IGO with 2 additional forms that can both be e-signed. And anything that you decide to give me in this particular case, any bonus you give out, it's 100% tax deductible to the business. So what's Superstars of businesses that you know? For those of you that have not started your list yet, excuse me, I'm going to encourage you, take out a sheet of paper and start listing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay? And leave it blank, and if somebody comes to mind, start writing their name down. Or if you've already worked on your list, you've thought of more people, write their names down. Write their names down, okay? So here's how it works. Oh, here. There has to be a win-win. Win for the executive, win for the business owner. So we talked about the business owner win. Let's talk about for the recipient. Obviously, you have that protection aspect. You get beamed up too early. You want to go meet your maker, okay? Your family is going to be able to receive something at least as much as they possibly can without you being here. Look, the whole point is to invest in the client's future, in the employee's future. Excuse me. Okay? Portability just means that I get to keep what I earn. If I leave LaSalle in less than 10 years, it's mine. But she's not going to give me no $50,000 anymore. I got to come up with myself. Okay? I do have to pay taxes on the bonus, but I don't care. This is hopefully going to net me X, Y, and Z, right? So, here it is. LaSalle is my employer. That's me now. That's me now, okay? She gives me a taxable bonus of $50,000, but she says, hey, David, I want to give you a net $50,000. You gotta pay taxes on it, David, but you know what? I'm gonna take care of the taxes that you need. It's fine. So on paper, my bonus is probably like $70,000. Let's assume that the tax on the bonus is 20, so that I net 50. Okay, so she does that for me. I am the owner, and I get to pick the people who would benefit from my plan in case I pass away. Yes, I also have access to any cash that is in the plan. Notice how I still have not said life insurance, by the way. Yeah, notice that. Plan. Okay? Now, if LaSalle wants to put a little bit more sticky on here, she can put a vesting schedule. Yeah, vesting schedule. So she can say, hey, put a restriction like, David, you're going to have access to money, but on restriction basis. Oh, vesting schedule. Oh, man, okay. So maybe she says, oh, you only have access to like 20% the first year or second year, whatever. So the only difference is there's a direction form that is filed with Pacific Life. If I call and try to take more money out than the direction form states, Pacific Life will turn me down. And they'll say, you need to go talk to your boss, LaSalle, because she put a vesting schedule on here. That's what's going to happen. Okay? So, in summary, what we're looking at is a way to be able to address employee retention by ways of attracting, motivating, incentivizing your superstar employee to stay with you by you saying, I want to invest in your future. Okay? That's what an executive bonus is for, is the ability for a business owner to say, I'm going to tap you on the shoulder, superstar. I want to motivate. I want to incentivize. I want to attract, all that good stuff. I basically want to invest in your future. Not just a cash bonus, yeah? But the plan is you're going to, let's say she says it to me. It's like, Dave, you bring in 75% of my business. You are so important to my efforts as a company. You're so important to the revenue. I really want you to be happy. So I want to invest in your future. Here's one review. I already give you a 401k. That's fine. You get this benefit. You get that benefit. This is extra because I want you to have it. Okay, so this is truly investing in your future. You're going to work with my guy, Ricky. Ricky's going to help you take that $50,000 bonus and create this plan. Now, this plan is going to do a few things. Number one, it's going to provide protection for your family. In case anything happens to you early on, your family's going to receive something to be able to continue on financially as best they can. This really is intended for your future. So while you are watching your kids grow and play and do all this stuff, this same plan has the ability to grow tax deferred. You don't have to worry about any losses in the market or whatnot, right? It puts you on a path for tax-free income later on, right? So that 401k, you still have that. This is to help supplement whatever you have as well. And every single dollar that you take out later is going to be completely tax-free. I want to be able to help create that plan for you. The deal is you have to stay with me for 10 years, David. If you leave me within 10 years or prior to 10 years, prior to our agreement, then I will no longer pay that $50,000 bonus. You're going to have to come up with your own. You got to take it with you. You got to take it with you. You got to keep what you earned, but you're on your own. Okay? So we have to agree to it. So that's the setup, you guys. Let me stop really quick and see if you guys have any questions. Go ahead. Ask away while I create an illustration really quick so that you can see the numbers, and then we can talk about a few other concepts. Put it in the chat box or unmute yourself and ask your question, please. And if you have anything to add, Don.
I think it's pretty clear.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Usually I've got some type of question.
Mm-hmm.
So here's that double bonus, by the way. If you're looking at my screen, the double bonus just means that LaSalle is going to give me the taxes to help pay for, the taxes that would be due, okay? A single bonus would mean that she's going to give me a gross bonus of $50,000, but because I have to pay taxes, the actual check I would receive is going to be less than $50,000, okay? So because I'm her superstar employee, she's going to say, David, I'm going to take care of that, okay? The split share here just means that I can put money in, or she can put money, her corporation can put money in, and I can put money in too. Yeah?
And
So you can plan it that way as well.
As an employee, they can add.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even have to be equal. So I had a care facility, right? So I had this care facility who they had 3 caregivers that they didn't want to lose. So for the main caregiver, what they did for her is they did $1,500 a month was their bonus to her. So $1,500 a month. The next one down, they provided $800 a month for her, almost half. Okay, and then there was a third one up and coming, and they said, okay, what we're going to do for you is we're going to do $300 a month. And the care person said, oh, I can put my own money in too. So she planned on putting anywhere between $300 or $400. So the business said, okay, $300 you guaranteed on our end, right? As long as you do X, Y, and Z. And then she was going to put her own $300 or $400 in as well. Yeah? So that's possible. That's the split share. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to assume that LaSalle is going to give me that bonus for, let's see here. Give me the bonus for $50,000 a year, and I want it for cash. Okay, that's my goal. And she said she's going to give it for 10 years. But it doesn't have to be $50,000, right? It can be whatever she wants. Okay, and then we're going to say, okay, let's start taking money out at the age of 65 to age 90. I like to go to 90. People like to be optimistic. We want long-term care on this. I'm married. Okay. Let's see, did I miss anything? Oh, and we'll crush the basement too to get the most cash out. Okay. I make a lot of money because she pays me a lot. There you go. All right. What I'm going to do, guys, is I'm just going to take you to the numbers so we take a look. This is all the devil in the details. I don't want you to be experts at this part. Don't worry about it. But obviously, you're going to have to see an illustration. This is what it looks like, guys. An executive bonus illustration, okay? It talks about why you'd want to do this in the first place. It talks about why would you want to even consider this as somebody who's a superstar, okay? It talks about inflation. That $100,000 represents that I'm able to afford my house, my car, going on vacations, movies, whatever. At 23 years later, when I quote unquote slow down and retire, at an inflationary rate of just 4%, that same lifestyle is going to cost me $324,000, over $324,000. So as the employer, LaSalle's like, look, I want to invest. This is investing in your future. I want to invest in your future, David, because you're valuable to me, right? And so here's that diagram we talked about, how she's going to give you that taxable bonus, and then I get this plan. I work with Rick to create this plan that does X, Y, and Z. Here is the win-win. I love this page because this is the win for the employer. Why would the business owner want to do it in the first place? There's the win for the recipient, for your superstar. Why would I even want to consider taking this money and putting in this plan? Because of this. And now we're going to go in the numbers. This will help further motivate everybody to do the plan. Okay, let me make this bigger. So, please pay attention to column number 5, which says after-tax bonus. Okay? After-tax bonus. If you pay attention to column number 4, it says tax on the bonus, $22,464. So LaSalle says, David, I want you to net $50,000. I'll take care of the taxes because I really value you. So if you go to column number 1, this is the employer section. So her actual bonus to me is $72,464,000. That is her tax deduction. It is payroll, so she gets to deduct all of this, 100%. Okay? I then take column number 5, my after-tax bonus, and I work with Ricky to create this policy or plan. Here it is. Column 6 is $50,000. Now, just like LaSalle said, I get instant coverage, right? So instant protection. Anything happens to me, my family gets X. I want to look in whole numbers or complete numbers. So 10 years is $500,000. She invests $500,000 into me. Okay? When I start taking money out at age 65, I'm taking out $75,000. But let's get complete numbers, guys. She gives me $500,000. That's my future. And as long as we do 6% rate of return, not shooting for the moon. Look, I could stand to possibly get $2 million tax free. Now, don't you think that would make me, on top of my 401k that she already gives me, right? And remember, I have protection the entire time here. So if I died at this point, I've taken out $1.5 million for me, and I'm still leaving $571,000 to my family. That's not bad, right? $1.5 million to me, $575,000. That's what my heirs are going to receive. Why wouldn't I want to stay employed with LaSalle? Why wouldn't I do this plan? Okay, let me stop. Let me take any questions because we just unpacked a lot. And I'm going to take about 10 more minutes. Go ahead. Anything. We good? Are the new people lost? Like, man, why did I say it was special? I didn't get it.
Chris,
Okay.
done? Anything?
I'm hoping you're writing some names down. This is what I hope. Let's see the key person one, okay? So let's go back here because they go hand in hand, guys. They go hand in hand. Okay. So if your solution, if your goal is to attract, retain, motivate, incentivize superstar employees, then you may need to consider an executive bonus plan. Or the other one that I talked about, which is called split premium executive arrangement. That's when they both put money in. Okay, yourself, you have a question, go ahead. Who's on? Somebody has to mute.
Not a
Go ahead.
question, David, but the plan is too good to be true. I know it's legit, but okay, tell me, since you've been in the business for so long, who are the clients that you've experienced to close this kind of plans? Give us an idea. Doc
Okay.
who
A-
owns
anybody, anybody who owns a business that has employees. Anybody. Because everybody has a business that where at least one person is a superstar that you can't lose. So pick one. Nursing home, care facilities, doctor offices, for sure dentists, dentist
but
offices, construction, restaurants.
have you experienced them saving 50,000 for their employees? Is there any,
Some depends on how big the business is. So remember the one that I told you about, the care facility we got, the care facility people? So they had four residential homes, right? And they had three main caregivers. The first caregiver they gave $1,500 a month. That's not 50,000, obviously. The second one they gave $800 a month, almost half. And the third one they did $300 a month because they were up and coming. And then the third person was going to put their own money. So it doesn't matter what size business. What matters are, do you have employees that you rely on? Do you have a superstar employee that you can't lose? That's the question. And so that opens it up, man. It could be pizza. It could be the pizza place. It could be the donut shop. Here, let me show this to you guys. Let me bring this up real quick. Another thing, and another reason why we're doing this class too, or this I'm gonna say class, is because where'd it go? Is it this one? Yeah. So you know how there's June Gloom? This is June Boom. So these are actual case studies that I've done. So you can see here this last one, the case study number 4, 39-year-old male married, 2 kids, blah, blah, blah. Okay, but take a look at this, case study number 1. Veterinary clinic, father and son, both DVM. Dad is the sole owner of the company. He files the company as a C Corp. Dad is 78, adult child 52. And the son the 52-year-old has 3 daughters. He's single, and he has 3 daughters. They have a current staff of 5 registered veterinary assistants, and they also have office staff. Okay, and they're also looking, because they're expanding, to hire a new DVM, a new vet. So do you see the opportunities? What would you do? What are the opportunities for this? And this is the information that I get. So what we're trying to do for you guys is to make you better at getting something like this and going, okay, let me ask you some questions. And this is exactly how I said. So I said, okay, let me ask you some questions. Boom, 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 boom. All right. Well, based on that, here's what I see. Yeah? You can look at this one. This is what I'm working on right now. We just got this is 164,000 points. This one here, this was 50,000 points. This is 164,000 points. This one, look at this. Okay, I'll tell you what happened with this one. This guy requested a 10 million term. 10 million. And there's a way that you deal with people that just want 10 million terms. So we showed him term. We talked about his needs. I asked a bunch of questions, okay? I showed him term. And I go, you're 38. You're going to outlive any term out there, probably. Let me show you term for life. Show them term for life. Okay? Talked about if your situation changes, you want your money back, you can get it. Boom, boom. I can put the coverage in. Oh. And then I showed them a $10 million max fund IUL and a target fund IUL. Oh, conversation changed. He's like, ooh, I like it. Okay. So I showed max fund so you can see the maximum opportunity for the cash side, and that he also has a death benefit the entire time, and we're only showing 6%. And then I also showed him a target fund in case he didn't want to max fund $169,000 per year. He can come all the way down to 112. Okay? And he's like, okay, let me take that. He asked a couple questions. I asked a couple questions to him. He's like, let me take this to my wife. We'll talk about it. He comes back 3 days later. He's like, okay, we want to do the max funding. I will. So it's also in a way of talking about and asking the right questions, and also showing him certain things, showing him what he wants, but also being able to stretch them too, and not showing him too little, because it's almost insulting when people do. Okay, so that's kind of a long-winded answer, Lizelle, to your question of who can an executive bonus make sense for, and it can make sense for anybody. Obviously, so I'll tell you what happened here. They did an executive bonus for her son. They're going to do an executive bonus for this person. They're going to do an executive bonus for one of their office staff. We're also looking at key person as well. Dad is going to get out of the business, so there's a buy-sell agreement that's probably going to take place. We haven't even talked about the annuities. There's so much opportunity in here. It's crazy. Okay. What other questions? Good question. It's 9 o'clock too. You want to resume later? You want to just do you want to do homework, or you want to talk about the other part? Well done.
I mean, it's up to them. Lizelle, you guys still good?
I gotta go.
You gonna go?
9 o'clock na.
Yeah, we can.
From there, there's too much to absorb.
All right, let us sit and let it sink in to them, and then
All right, hang on.
homework.
That's fine. And I really respect that, guys, because we've got some people on here, and if you have not done this, or if you want to redo your list, please do so. But this is the expectation anyway, right? The other thing to do, homework-wise, and I don't know how I don't know, Don, on how you would go about this anyway. So you decide how to do this. Is going to be your rebranding.
Uh-huh.
And that's going to include your elevator speech.
Is that part of the homework?
It is, and understanding and identifying your natural network, which is easy. You guys do this already, and pain points. So this is all the elevator speech and pain points. You've got to understand that. You've got to be able to do that. And let's see here. Oh, yes. So of your business list, okay, your business list. So we're speaking specifically about your list. Okay, business list. I need to know this. So before you bring it to me or anybody else, we need to know. Dang it, making me go back. Okay, fine. Owner name, name of business, including web address. Okay, including web address. Owner name, age, marital status, it. Okay. Need to know also initial meeting date that you met your contact. Need to know what was your last communication with? When was last communication, and what was discussed? Is there a follow-up appointment? Is there a meeting set up? Is there a future meeting set up? When and what to discuss. Okay? You need to be able to visit their website. Social media. So do some homework before you bring the list to us. Do some of your homework before you bring the list to us, because then what's going to happen, I'll tell you what's going to happen right now. So what's going to happen, for example, with Christina, if I can use Christina as my superstar list person here, okay? Because her list is complete, she's got all this information already to me. So now that I'm feeling better and hopefully I don't have jury duty, I'm going to set an appointment with her. We're going to go down each and every one of her list, or each person on her list. We're going to talk about, okay, initial engagement. What we're going to say, when is this? What are you going to talk about? How are you going to bring it up? What are you going to say? What's it going to be about? What are the questions you're going to ask, right? And then we're going to put them on a cadence. So that's what we need to talk about today was communication. And cadence means we're going to put them on a 90-day dash. So that means we're going to calendar out touch points. She's going to reach out on this date. She's going to reach out on this date. It's going to be about this on this date. It's going to be about this. It's going to be personal on this date. So it's to set up the cadence. Because if you've not had conversations or you're not in touch with these folks very often, you don't really have much of a relationship. But so I know it's a little bit different with you because you have people that you can call right now and just go and they'll listen to you. So the question is for your listeners, okay, well, what are you going to say to them? What's it going to be about? And what questions are you going to ask when you have that first list? You have people, I know you have people that say yes to you right now. It's just, okay, now what's behind it? And maybe that might be something like, we give you the information to be able to ask the right questions, but then maybe the second appointment, maybe I come with you. Maybe I do a Zoom meeting with you, and we move it forward. So everybody's going to be a little bit different, but it has to start with this list. That's going to be more complete, so we can be more efficient with our time and get things moving. Because what we want to do is we want to have the first success story. So who's it going to be? And all of you have the ability to do it. So I'm really looking forward to being able to get this rolling. So, Don, I'm going to pass it over to you. When is your expectation for them to hopefully have this done? Those of you that have it done already, please thank you very much for sending it to me. I will get in touch with you. Ging, Ray said he was going to do his because we did one together, and I asked him to include all the other information. He said he was going to do it. He just hasn't had any time. And then Christina, I'll be reaching out to you. Christy, I'll reach out to you this week to be able to set up an appointment probably for early next, or maybe even on Friday. And then LaSalle, whenever you get that to me, we'll set one up right away with you because you're ready to go too. Okay, Don, go for it. It's all yours.
All right. I guess it's good to review that executive bonus. Actually, that was a question I was going to ask you, but when I asked how you doing, but you were sick and can't do that. But I'm working on this one. I'm going to include that in my list too. So, how about you guys? When do you want the next one to happen?
I can do next Monday.
You good next Monday?
I could. 24th, I could.
Okay.
I'm open.
Let's set it up at the same time.
Same time. I can do it. So you guys can do it.
Everybody good next Monday? Ying? Okay. Listen, Ate Wang, you're good Monday? Ricky?
Yeah, at least I know now. Okay, thanks.
Alrighty. So, Monday it is. 8 o'clock again. So, continuation.
All right.
The opposite of your executive bonus is the key employee.
Key employee, buy, sell. You might
Buy,
go to something else, and then everybody's going to be off to the races because by next week, hopefully you get your homework done, you'll be able to reach out to your clients after next week's session. I don't want you to reach out too soon. For those of you that aren't ready, Ging, LaSalle, and Christy, and Ricky, I know you guys are on different paths because this is the second time you've heard this, so we'll be ready to go with you guys much faster. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for setting this up. I appreciate it.
Thank you, David.
Thank you, David. Oh,
Oh, David, could we reach you anytime, right? Because I have some questions. This is Chris, by the way, in Long Beach.
Oh, yeah.
See you.
Just text, write, whatever.
All right.
All right. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you.
thanks. Bye-bye.